Good morning. 1 second. Afternoon, evening. Sorry. I'll be with you in a minute. My brain's a bit fried today. Afternoon. So I flew into the UK at 3 o'clock this morning, so I am actually still half asleep. Very difficult flight last night. We got delayed by our plane outgoing to come and pick us up, got delayed by 2.5 hours. So was driving home in a daze from Gatwick at like 2 o'clock this morning. But hey, I'm here. And I'm hemorrhaging tons and tons of cash. Right, so yes, back. All back again. All exciting. Had a good holiday. Was away in Greece for a week. All ready to come back. So I decided to do something a bit different with the live room. Starting from this week. I've decided to go for another account with my Forex funds. Just to add some more capital basically. So I've just started a new evaluation account today, which is this one here, which is a 100k account. Was a 100k account. I've done $700 this morning already. I'm just trying. Actually, this is experimentation, so hopefully I'll get this back in a minute. But I'm just basically setting up a Signal channel in Telegram, which you can access now as well, which will basically have these trades in, so you can see them actually happening live rather than on delay, because the stream's obviously got a bit of a delay to it. So I've set up a Signal. Well, it's not a Signal channel. It's basically my trades that I'm taking on the account, basically, just so you can see them. But they're getting posted instantly as I take them, rather than obviously a little bit delayed on the stream. So yeah, so that's the idea. I've got the 50k funded with my Forex funds, so I've just started this 100k evaluation. So I'm looking to basically add another 100k of funding. So all I'm doing basically is I'm copying these trades over onto my other live funded account as well. So this is what I'm trading on the live account with my Forex funds as well. So just copy trading basically these across. So yeah, there you go. So I haven't had a chance to have a look at what happened last week. I know obviously last week we had non-farm payroll. I did have a quick scan through. Last week looked a bit flat to me. We had obviously loads of bank holiday last week. We had Monday with the US, and then obviously we had Thursday and Friday. And non-farm obviously was a bank holiday in the UK. So the market looks like it went up and came back down and went up again last week. So it doesn't look like we had an awful lot happening last week. We've got a sorry, morning Peter, afternoon Peter, even afternoon Madis. Just adding one more to that position. Afternoon Harry. So I'm getting used to saying afternoon because it's normally the mornings I'm doing this. So yeah, so with news-wise, obviously we've got a bank holiday in Europe today as well. So I'm not quite sure. We'll have a look at all the markets in a minute and go through all the FX pairs and everything. We've got the cash rate for the Australian dollar tomorrow morning. We've got the PMI for IVPMI for the CAD tomorrow afternoon as well. Wednesday, you've got no news whatsoever. This is the big one. On Thursday, it's the euro rates. So it's forecasted to be zero, and it's obviously been zero. They've been flat forever, absolute ever. So last time we had a rate was 2016. So this is they're expected to increase this, and the expectation is July. Whether or not that happens sooner, we don't know, but I'll be interested to see what happens. I'm not quite sure what impact this is going to have on the euro, whether we're going to start to see a little bit of positive sentiment trickling into the euro. could well happen, but we want to keep an eye on this one. It's going to be a biggie on Thursday, so that's our main news event for the week. We've got Macklem talking as well, and we've got the ECB press conference at 1:30 as well after the rate. So there's going to be a load of euro volatility on Thursday. We could well see some fundamental shifts as well on Thursday, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Friday we've got CAD unemployment and we've got CPI for the US dollar. So a bit of a light news week this week. We've got one massive news event. We've also got the Aussie rates as well. They're going up by not 0.5%, but it's just under 0.5%. So obviously assuming that they do what they said, they didn't last time. So we could have some impact there as well. So two big news events and then absolutely nothing. So it's a bit of a weird week this week. So we'll have a look at all the FX pairs. What happened last week? Everybody make lots of money? Anybody make any money? Was it absolute rubbish? I didn't see an awful lot. I did dip in and out while I was sitting on my balcony. Had a quick look at the charts in the morning, but I didn't really dig into it in any detail. Obviously, looking at the last week on the indices. Where's my drawing? Hang on a minute. Where's my pen? Mr. Organised this morning. So obviously this is obviously today. So last week basically was kind of up and down on the indices. So we haven't really gone anywhere. We're still in the downtrend at the moment on the indices, and it's all very sideways, obviously, last week with what was going on. So the interesting one is the DAX. DAX is actually making some headway, which is interesting because it's doing a little bit more headway than the US indices at the moment. I've now got the FTSE we can look at as well. Woohoo! Because this is obviously on the My Forex Fund account. So yeah, everything sideways last week after that big bull run that we had. And the DAX seems to look like it wants to get a little bit higher. We haven't managed to break the highs from last week yet, though. So be interesting to see what happens with the DAX today. I'm being fairly cautious at the moment because obviously I haven't traded last week, so I'm just sort of easing myself back into it a little bit. But yeah, so still obviously bearish with the indices, but not quite sure whether or not we're seeing a peak formation low coming in here. We're chopping back up into potential resistance where we can continue the move down. Obviously there's an awful long way to go down on these still, coming all the way down to these levels here, potentially. So be interesting to see what happens, but we will see. We've no confidence vote tonight, so that might get a reaction. Yep. Profitable week last week. Cool. Yeah, so this we've got Boris Johnson. There's a no confidence vote. I think it's 6 o'clock. Where is it? Yeah, from 6 o'clock. There's a no confidence vote for Boris Johnson. So basically, if there's 54 votes or something of no confidence, it will go to a proper vote, basically. Saying there's 120 to 130 that will have no confidence, over 50%. So there's 180 votes needed, to remove him. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. We may get quite a bit of volatility in the pound if that does go ahead later. So we'll see what happens with that as well. But yeah, all very interesting stuff potentially this week with the Eurozone and with the pound. But obviously with the US indices and everything, it's sideways. So we're kind of resetting today. Really can't see Boris surviving this one. Yeah, no, neither can I. I don't know. The hammer's been coming down on him for a while, isn't it? But who knows? He survived everything so far. So, yeah, we'll see. But if there is a leadership vote, it's difficult to tell what will happen to the pound. The market reacted pretty positively this morning on the news of that potentially happening. We had a little bit of a rally on the pound. Hasn't really done anything since, and it's just kind of reversing back down. So that's obviously when it was announced, and we got this big push up. But it's kind of sort of stabilised a little bit. So it's difficult to know what the market will make of that if and when it happens. We basically just tapped up straight into the highs here and just sort of sat around. So we will see. I get the feeling it will probably devalue the pound if there's enough votes to kick him out. If we go to a leadership contest, then it's probably likely Rishi Sunak will take over. I don't know. Who knows what will happen, but I think it's probably going to be negative for the pound. So if you look at the pound pairs, where we are at the moment, we're in a pullback. So I'd be looking for continuation to the downside on all these pound pairs, basically. If there is instability coming in. If not, we are kind of sort of chopping around on the pound at the minute. It's not really got a lot of direction in any way, shape or form at the moment. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. We've got 15 minutes to go until the market opens. So if you want to follow along on the trades that I'm taking on this new account, obviously you can join the Telegram channel. There's a link in there to the new sort of trades channel that I set up for this, basically. So feel free to join that if you want to. Right, so what we're going to do, start with, we'll have a quick whiz through all of the dashboards as usual. And then obviously just trade the open of New York, and then I want to have a look through all the FX pairs and see where we are with everything at the moment. So ADRs today. There you go. Pound Swiss just hit ADR. I was going to say there's no ADRs today, but the Pound Swiss just hit. So Pound Swiss just tapped into ADR. So we're still getting a little bit of a push there. Is that Swiss franc weakness? Yes, it's Swiss franc weakness at the minute, which is taking the pound Swiss higher. So we've had that bit of strength on the pound this morning on that news. We've got a weak Swiss franc at the moment, which has given the pound Swiss the opportunity to get up to those highs. So potential reversal there. Likelihood is to come back down and retest this area. But anything you're trading on the pound, obviously at the moment, you've got to be aware of that volatility that might come in 6 o'clock this evening. I'm not quite sure when the vote result will be announced. Usually with those things, it's when it's a ballot, it's done real time, isn't it? So you get the result as they all file out and do their votes. They come back in and they announce the result. So it should be, as far as I know, an instant thing. So we may well see the pound just kind of in a holding pattern until we get that news later. So we'll see. But there is an ADR opportunity on the pound Swiss short there. Nothing much else lit up on those dashes at the minute. Hourlies, there wasn't anything. The CAD yen lit up this morning. Sorry, I'm just going to check that trade. Just seeing some selling coming in. I don't really want to be in this ahead of the open, to be honest. So just get ready to shut that one out. Yeah. What was it? So yeah. So the CAD yen obviously is the only we've got on the hourlies extended. So very nice extension on that. It's been embedded for quite a while. Obviously, the yen is still weak. So what's happened last week? I haven't had a look at last week on the yen. Blimey. Right. Okay. Is that all yen pairs? Yeah. Missed it. Typical. So yeah, like I was saying the week before I went away, expecting yen weakness. And it came in obviously last week while I was away. That's the one thing I didn't look at last week was the yen. So yeah, nice big strong pushes on the yen, all the yen pairs. As I say, the US dollar, they're looking at 135 as the level on the US dollar. That is where the Bank of Japan have stated they are happy. Well, it's not so much happy, but they are willing to let the US dollar yen go to for them to be still comfortable with the value of the yen. So we've got these highs here. So we are just going to start tapping up into these highs. If we can break through these highs considerably and come back down, that'd be a nice little long opportunity. So we've had this little flag, and now we've just broken out. So looking for longs on all the yen pairs, really. Highs on these at the minute. Yeah, really nice strong push on everything, even the euro. So that's good. Funny, we get the alert from your new channel, and then 30 seconds later we see it on the live stream. Yeah, it's. I set it up more as a. So that you can kind of follow the trades. Look at that rejection there. Should have stayed in it. You can follow the trades after the live room, because obviously I'm trading after the live room as well. But I'm going to try and do as much of the trading as I can on this account in the live room, if possible, rather than not trading it in the live room. So I'm looking to scalp this account basically as quickly as I can up to get it funded. Afternoon, Neo. So should be able to get sort of. I mean, the target is. I mean, these My Forex Funds accounts, you can do them in 5 days, basically. Each level is 5 days minimum. So the target on this one is 8k, because it's 100k. So divided by 5, 1600 a day. So it's 1.6% a day is target. Let me just change the volume on. Whoops, one sec. Because the crickets are going to go mental in a minute. The market's going to open in 10 minutes. So yeah, target is kind of ultimate target really is $1,600 a day. But I'd be happy with $800 a day, which would obviously hit target in 2 weeks on each stage. So get the 100k funding in a month. But what I'm trying to do, kind of ballsed up a bit this morning because I was mucking about with the signals, trying to get the signals working. Obviously, I just lost $800 in the process. But anyway, so what I'm trying to do is get that target hit at the open and get it hit fairly quick. So get into some decent trades, add to them, and try and get that target done really within the first sort of half an hour to an hour of the open. That's kind of the goal, which is what I tend to do most of the time with my funded account. I'm in and out of it quick. When I've got $500 to $1,000 in the bank, I stop. That's it, I'm done. If I'm having a day kind of like this, if you like, where I'm just getting chipped away at by the market, waiting for that one big one to come in, then I'm trading for 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes. So the idea of that channel is if we're getting days where I'm hitting the target fast, that's it, done. Won't touch the account. But if we're getting days where I'm getting chipped around, obviously I end the live stream and then I'm still going to be trading on the account after the live stream's ended. So the idea is obviously you can see what's being traded in that Telegram channel. Because I've had a few people saying you seem to be doing really badly in the live room. I'll be 0.5% down or 1.5% down in the live room, and then the next morning I come on and go, hey, I made 3.5%, and they're like, well, how did you make the 3.5%? Now you can see the trades being taken. That's the idea. Right. Prof, did you lose the last one? Did I lose the last what? Trade? Yeah. That's what you mean. Sorry, my brain's a bit foggy today. Welcome back. How had a good one? Yeah, had a good holiday. But yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm not really sure I should be trading today, to be honest. I have had like 12 hours of travelling, about 5 hours of sleep, and yeah, brain is feeling slightly foggy, hence dropping down to 0.25% risk. But we'll see. And it's the first day back, so I want to kind of get in a bit slower. So, oh, you talking? Oh, sorry, I've just realised what you were talking about. Did I lose the last one, as in the last funded account? No. So I'm just doing this one to add more funding to the account. So basically, all the trades I'm taking are being copied over onto my other funded account. Obviously, with a different lot size, because this is a 100k account. So yeah, no, I'm just copying the trades over from here. Right, sorry, where was I? I thought it's going to be a really disjointed one this afternoon. See, I don't even know what time of the day it is. So there you go. So hourly, we looked at the CAD yen. So yens obviously have had this big push. So I would be looking for pullbacks on the yen pairs. To see if we can get some opportunities to get in. So if we see any RSI extensions on the yens to the downside, good looking potential longs there. 4 hours, we've got quite a few. All yens at the moment. So Aussie dollar yen extended on the 4 hour, just got re-extended. CAD yen, so we've looked at all these yens quickly, but they're all very, very nicely extended. Obviously we've got a load of weakness. So basically, as it pushes up, we'll be looking for pullbacks and pushes on all these yen pairs. So euro yen, pound yen, extended, New Zealand yen, and US yen. So all these will be looking for pullbacks and pushes. We may well just get little pullbacks, but obviously stick a fib on it, and you'll be able to see roughly where we may well be. Cool, that's a nice colour, isn't it? Where we're going back to. Let's just going to change to yellow. So yeah, anywhere around sort of the 38 to 61.8 retracement, pulling back into the 24 for longs. But if you want to take a mean reversion trade on these as well, we're coming up into highs, so that's likely where we're going to start to drop from. But I would be very wary selling into this weakness on the yen. It's more likely it's going to continue, so I wouldn't want to really be taking mean reversions on that at the moment. The only other thing we've got extended at the moment is US dollar CAD on the 4 hour. The US dollar didn't get much strength last week. Obviously we had all the holidays, so sideways movement there. US dollar CAD's come down, US dollar yen's obviously pushed up, but there wasn't a massive amount of strength on the US, and the Canadian dollar's still strong off the back of oil. There's still a load of stuff going on with oil at the moment. Really big strong pushes on oil. I was watching that last week. It's beautiful long still. It's just been very, very, very difficult to get into it. But literally every pullback is looking like oil's wanted to come back up and retest this 125 a barrel. So all the time that's happening, we should have a strong Canadian dollar as well. Just so you know, there will be some who will try to use this as a signal service. Yes, I know. They can try. People always use try and resell signal services, but you know, hey ho. Right. What lot size would you use for a 15k account? Depends on your trades, your time frame, your trades, how long you're holding for, where your stop's placed. There's no answer to that, really. Risk reward. Use proper risk management. All the market sessions are open. Which one is opening in 10 minutes? New York opens in 10 minutes. Oh, New York opens in 4 minutes. 3 minutes. Damn, exposed already, yeah. Andy's copying me. So we've got a bit of selling coming in to start pre-market. So having a look at the DAX, let me just move that over the side a minute. Sorry, the NASDAQ. We're obviously sideways at the moment. We've had a decent push this morning. We've got this lovely big gap down here, propulsion gap out of this accumulation at the open. Went absolutely flying. We're tapping around the 1.5 hour opening range at the moment, not gone anywhere. So potential for downside momentum this afternoon, I think. Either to come down and sort of readdress this and re-challenge this area here, or if we're going to push up, looking to retest these highs. But we've done a 50% retracement on this sort of zigzag sort of movement we had last week. CAD Swiss has just hit as well. Swiss franc at the moment is really, really weak. I thought New York opens 1 p.m. No, New York's 2:30. Always has been. Always is. That's a stock exchange we're talking about here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking for shorts potentially today. This area at the lows here, this is obviously, last week is a very difficult week to sort of use for a directional bias, because obviously it was so much holidays and so little liquidity. We just had kind of a choppy rotation week. So this week I'm looking for them to continue their moves. The question is, are we starting now, because we've broken this high, to put a peak formation low in and starting some kind of bull move, or is this just the pullback on the bear move? So to me, I think we are still in a bear market. We are just having a temporary bit of strength before the next leg down. So I'm looking for shorts either way at the moment at the open. Why are you yelling? Yeah, I don't know. Shahid, you got your caps lock on. Okay, 30 seconds to the open. So we will see what happens at the open. I'm looking for shorts. Kind of ballsed up the initial open this morning. Well, not at the start of the day. So I've got $800 to try and grapple back already. But I'm going to be trading the NAS rather than the S&P or anything else today. I'm just using fairly light risk today as well. So bulls coming in before the open. So quite a lot of bull action coming in at the open. So 129.45 is the high. That's way above ADR. I'd be surprised if we come and retest these highs, but big flurry of bullish price action. Wow, it's really going. Okay, I'm trying a quick short. Basically just seeing if they're just retesting this liquidity. This area has held really well all morning, so all these initial flurries of buyers coming in. I'm just seeing if basically this is the last of the buyers emptying before we dump. And short one more. Okay, I'm going to take that 0.4. Gets back a bit of that loss. Okay, so the initial open was fairly quick. Let me just cancel that pending order. Was that 200, was it? Blimey. Yeah, I'll leave it 200. Okay, so we've gone all quiet. So I'm basically just waiting to see if the next move is bullish or bearish. After that initial flurry of orders. Got 1.5 minutes left on the opening range. Big opening range this afternoon. Gotta get used to the afternoon. I feel like I've just woken up, I really do. Is there no problem with copying around between the two instances? I thought I had something in the back of my head that copying trades was against the terms of service. No, not if you're copying your own trades. If you're copying other people's trades, yeah, that is against terms of TOS, but I'm copying my own trades. That is allowed. I'm just getting ready for a dump because I think if it's going to dump, it's going to happen fast. If it is, so I'm going to take one there and take one on the break of the lows and look for fill down here. One in. Okay, there's your opening range. So looking for a break of the opening range low. How do they know that I'm copying my own trades? Well, because they'll see the same trades being executed on both of my accounts. If you mean how do they know that the copier is not copying a signal service, they have algorithms running basically. So if the same trades are getting executed at the same times with roughly the same contract sizes, it's pretty obvious that people are copying someone else, isn't it? So if you all go and copy me now, to copy my signal that I've got in Telegram, they might have a problem with that, obviously, and I've got proof because I'm doing it live. So I'm not going to be the one getting banned. Closing one, break even in the second. Just break even on that, just wary of this low here. There we go. So just pop that low, loads of selling coming through. Okay, I'm going to close that second part off. Just want to get myself back to where I was, where I should be. Yeah, so if you're copying a signal service from MQL5, for example, and there's other people copying that same signal service from MQL5, and they're all using a funded account with my Forex funds, obviously they're all going to be taking the same trades at the same time. So it's very easy for algorithms to pick that up. You might be using slightly different lot multipliers, but your orders will be executed within, you know, milliseconds to seconds of each other at the same levels and closed at the same time. We're struggling to crack this level at the minute. So big whipsaw action so far in the opening 10 minutes. Okay, so we're coming back down to this gap. To retest, so I might try a quick long out of here if I see this selling stop and some buyers start to come in. There's a few buyers starting to trickle in. So idea being here, obviously we are bullish for the day. Globex session is bullish. So we had this little accumulation at the Frankfurt Open. So everybody that bought to make this move happen will be looking to add into their positions there. Didn't even get to it. Already started to buy it. Missed the opportunity there. So I'm just getting ready to get him long. It's all rejected. I just wish they'd have hit that level. They didn't get down here. I still think they might come to try that. They're not. Gonna try one long. So we're getting bought up off these lows at the minute, but there's a real battle going on here at the minute. It's just sellers, buyers, sellers, buyers, sellers, buyers. It's just whipping at the minute. It's not really taking off in any direction. Adding one more. I think 12,650 possibly on the cards before taking the long side. Yeah, this is where I was looking for them to come and test, but we tried really hard to crack that twice. We haven't succeeded. So I've got a feeling they're going to come and retest these highs first. Closing half, moving the other to break even. Free trade basically, see if we can get this a runner. I've got a feeling we're going to chop around here. Might go. Struggling. There's loads of buyers coming in, all getting absorbed here. All the sellers are getting absorbed here. Is exactly where the battlefield's been for the whole Globex session, is just still going on at the moment. We can't crack either level at the moment. I'm just going to bank that. It's only a tiny little bit, but if they'd have come and tested this and then done that, I'd be much more confident in that trade. Especially as I'm overall bearish on the indices, but we're just choppy at the minute. So this block here basically is where I want to be buying if we're going to come and retest these highs, but I'm not seeing any sellers coming in at the moment, which is why I'm looking to be a buyer at the moment. If we get some heavy selling coming in, then I'll flick, because I am short. I want to see this coming down and retesting this level initially, but ultimately going down. But news-wise this week, we've got nothing really US dollar until CPI on Friday, so there's no news this week to sort of jivvy the market up. We may well be waiting for these rate announcements, so we could see a couple of rotational days coming in this week, where we're just going to sort of sit around here waiting for the euro and the Aussie dollar rates before they decide which way they're going to go. So, which is kind of what it looks like it wants to do at the minute. Going short one. Short another one. If we do get through here this time, we should get a decent move down and make a new low. Run out sellers again. Closing half out of these lows, just protecting the other one, break even. Came sell off straight off of those lows there. Choppy, isn't it? Very wiki. Is this just scalping based on price action? Yes, Matthew, yeah. You just completed the 5-day video bootcamp. Don't recognise the strategy. No, this is just scalping. This isn't position trading. This is different. I will go through the FX pairs in a minute. Just struggling to break these lows. We should get a good pop through these lows. There we go. So this is potentially where we're going to see some buyers starting to step in. So just watch and see if we get any buyers absorbing all this selling price action here, looking to add into their positions. So I've got profit targets set up on the dash at $400. Let me just change that. $800. I don't want 400. Oh, well. Just locking a little bit of profit in on this. I'm going to close it. Okay, so kind of got absorbed in that gap fill. So it's $1,000 done. It's 1%. So that's kind of what I want to do as a minimum target. That'll get me done in 8 days. Just see where we go from here. Any video on this strategy? Nope, this is just pure price action, Matthew. When the market's going, when the candles are going down, you sell it. When you think it's going up, buy it. You get in, you get out, you get in, you just bank as fast as you can. There's so many strategies for price action. But at the end of the day, price action is really simple. And, you know, there's candlestick patterns, there's all sorts of theories, there's all sorts of ways of trading. But at the end of the day, if they push up like that, as they did this afternoon, and they go like that, the market's bearish. Yeah, because all the buyers got trampled. So I'm a seller. As it pushes down and rejects the lows, I become a buyer. When I see them push up again, this candle here, yeah, and it starts to push down, I become a seller. Yeah, with a massive bearish engulfing like this big red one we just had put in here, I'm a seller. But I'm wary of accumulation breaks because this is where the buyers tend to come in. That's why I got out of that trade, because it looked like the buyers were beating back the sellers. It's just price action. There's no video or rulebook as such. This is bullish now. Going long one. Because we got a big rejection there. We just pushed down. Buyers are stepping in. Over here. And looks like bullish. Looks like we're bullish. price action is telling me that they tried to get through this level and the buyers have stepped in and said, nope, we wanted to go long. And they're saying, nope, we want to go long again. It's not something really that you can, it's so difficult to teach this sort of stuff because you just got to do it and see it play out 1,000 times and it just gets ingrained in your brain. Don't like the look of it. The reason I don't like the look of it is because we pushed up, the sellers and buyers all stopped and it started retracing back down again. So I got out. It's just, that's literally it. It's very difficult to explain. I've tried to do a video on this months ago. When I started doing this, when the war kicked off in Ukraine, I tried to do a scalping video. And I realised that when I made the indicator, when I made the Price Action Toolkit indicator, and I realised that every day I do something different. And there's no rule book as such. I don't think that you can teach on this. If you want to learn price action, read Al Brooks' books, all of Al Brooks. He's the god of price action. Read all of his stuff, absorb all of his stuff, but you won't find any setups in there. He explains what price action is, how price action works. You need to understand the market auction process. This is what we're seeing here, the order book playing out. Understand how the market works with absorption, which is what we saw there. I should have stayed in that long. But it's a different type of trading. Very, 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 very hard work compared to position trading. But the only reason I'm doing it at the moment is obviously because what's going on with Ukraine. The markets are a bit, well, it's not just Ukraine, it's the world is in an absolute mess at the moment, as you can see. So FX market at the minute is very difficult to trade because the fundamental biases are changing very, very, very quickly, and it's hard to get a directional bias. And I need a directional bias to be a position trader because I need to be thinking, where are we going over the next few weeks? And at the moment, it's very hard to decide where we're going over the next few weeks because, things like that happen. Yeah, we're getting rate changes coming a lot at the moment. And this is affecting a lot of the FX market in weird and wonderful ways. We're seeing the yen. Last week, been sitting there waiting for the yen to weaken, and it strengthened and strengthened and strengthened when we were expecting it to weaken. This market's just not doing, the FX market is just not doing what it historically tends to do. So how do you decide which chart to trade? So with scalping, I only trade 3 instruments. I trade the NAS, the DAX, and the FTSE, which are the 3 main indices. The DAX opens at 8 AM, so UK time. So you trade that in the morning. In the afternoon, and the FTSE, trade that in the morning as well. In the afternoon, you can either pick the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ or the Dow. Any of these 3, they're all the same thing. You look at them on the chart, look. There's your S&P. Yeah. There's your NASDAQ. There's your Dow. They're virtually the same thing. So you just pick one of those, and they open at 2:30 PM UK time. So you want to trade when there's volatility, yeah? Look at this, what this has done for the last 2 or 3 hours, and then look what happened when the market opened. And you'll find the same thing on the DAX. Yeah. And DAX opens. Sorry, 7 a.m. 8 a.m. There. So DAX. So this is pre-market. This is the Frankfurt Exchange opening for trading. This is the desks opening for trading. Yeah, and then it all starts to kick off. So you trade when the market's trading, and you trade what the market is trading. You trade the instruments the market's trading. So in the afternoons, the world markets are focused on the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Dow. In the mornings, they're focused on the DAX. From a stock perspective, that is, obviously. This is choppy at the minute. Still bearish. Missed that. Where's the top there? If you want to know about candlesticks patterns, Matthew, I've got a video on YouTube, which is candlestick patterns. Basically, the top 5, 8. I can't remember how many I say. Top candlestick patterns, basically. So the main ones you're looking for are tweezer tops like that, bullish engulfings, bearish engulfings, shooting stars, that sort of thing, long wicks, hammers, yeah, 2 hammers next to each other there, and then the market went boing. Yeah, so it's just basic price action. Going long one. Long another one. Just close one out. Move that to break even. So this is the buyer stepping in off the back of that absorption there. Just moving my TP up. See if we can get a runner. So basically this is our next attempt at breaking these highs. If we get through these highs this time, we've got a good chance of getting a run up and retest of the daily high, which doesn't look like it wants to do. Again, just rejecting up here again. So looking for a test either of ADR or just over ADR today. There we go, popped it, we're through. Loads of buyers. So we're just coming up to retest the opening range highs. Whoa, pop straight through there. Okay, just closing that out. That's the target hit for the day. $1,600 is the target. We're just rejecting these highs again, run out of buyers up there. So potentially what we're looking for is a pullback on this move, and then a retest and a run again at those highs to try and get up, to retest the last week's high basically. So last week's high is up there, which is basically above ADR today. So if we are going long today, we're going to want to try and make some headway up into there. If this is going to hold and we're in a pullback, we should be looking to come and retest some of this area here. So we're spot on 61.8 retracement, 50 to 61.8 retracement at the moment on that move. So if we're going to continue down, that's the unknown at the moment, is whether or not we are bullish or bearish this week. Because obviously last week we just had rotation. So what are we doing? Are we following on that, or are we starting our next leg? So we're just retesting those highs again. We'll have a look at the FX pairs in a sec. I'm just keen to see what happens with this. I'm just going to set an alert at ADR today in case we get there. If we make it to ADR today, I'd be interested in taking a short up there. Just want to see if we hold this high or not. Looks like we're going to hold it. Okay, so any kind of pullbacks basically, so any kind of pullback into here is potentially a good spot for a long. I'm not going to trade anymore today because I've done my target. So obviously, that's my ultimate target is 1600 because that gets me done in 5 days. But if I can do it in 10, I'll be happy. Right, let's have a look at the FX pairs. So if you do want to continue trading this, just watch for a pullback somewhere, wick test of this candle here, somewhere in this this zone. It might not even do it. So if this closes obviously bullish here, we're going to leave a whacking great propulsion gap in here, which they want to come back to at some point. But we've got a load of areas to sell out of coming up on the way to ADR. So this is very bullish at the minute, though. Very bullish. Right, leave that there for a minute. Let's move them out of the way. So, from an FX perspective, obviously, we've got all the yen pairs extended on the 4 hour at the moment. So, any yen pair, in theory, is all set up. Pound yen's just hit ADR as well. That's JK, yeah. Wow, what is that? Guys, yen again, look at this yen weakness. Massively weak yen still. So pound yen, we just had ADR hit on the 4 hour. as well. 4-hour RSI extended and an ADR hit to the upside. Just be careful with any of these yens. If you're going to try and mean reversion on these, look at what happened last time on these yen pairs. Last lot of yen weakness we had. Potentially, this is what we're going to see happening again until we get a break of these highs. So it's a little bit. I'm still not interested in trading the yen. I'm very bullish on everything against the yen at the moment, but I didn't trade it before I went away. Obviously, I didn't trade it last week, and I missed the move. This is what I was expecting to happen, but I didn't have the balls basically to trade it. So I think we're going to see continued yen weakness over the coming weeks, potentially month or so. So rather than looking for mean reversion opportunities, I'd be looking for pullbacks into the 24.72 for bounces. So any of these yens basically that are extended at the moment, I'd be biding my time, waiting for them to come back down and start to scale into a position. You know, if you want to position trade these, scaling into a position at the 72 and the 24. So getting in there, if it bounces down further, obviously you can take a second, third, and then wait for that bounce. Very similar to what we had here. So entry there, failed, entry, failed, broke back down, out. So all those positions out in profit there. So it's the same thing, basically. Looking for yen weakness, therefore everything strong against the yen. The Aussie dollar, the one that I'm looking at the moment, is the one that we've potentially got the most volatility on, because obviously we've got the rates tomorrow morning at 5:30. So 205, that's not right. Okay. I was going to say, is that right? 5:30 in the morning? They don't normally release them at 5:30, do they? Maybe they do. That's just been adjusted. That was 0.75 a minute ago, wasn't it? That's just been adjusted. That's weird. Okay, so that was 0.75 a minute ago. So they're now looking at a 0.25% increase, which is much more in line with what I was expecting. I thought that was a funny figure. 0.25% is normally what we tend to move in increments of. So they're looking for a 0.25% increment now. So the Aussie dollar yen is the one that's got the potential to fly the furthest. So if there's any possibility of getting any pullbacks on this, on that Aussie dollar rate news, if for any reason the Aussie dollar comes down on the rate news, there's a good opportunity to get in. But I'd be looking much more for strength on this. So kind of missed the trade already on it. But all of these, CAD's just made new highs, obviously off the back of oil. Swissy's just double topping. The Swissy and the Euro, both of these are the same thing. So if you're going to trade one or the other, you know, pick one or the other, don't trade both Swiss yen and Euro yen together. But they've both broken out into new highs. So again, looking for pullbacks into the 24. So hourlies is where you want to be looking at these really on the hourly RSI extensions. Whoops. So if we get any hourly RSI extensions to the downside on any of these, that's when I'd be looking to take long opportunities on them. So dropping down to the hourly, waiting for this to get extended, and then looking to take the longs from there. I'm not even sure you'll get there. It's going to take a hell of a big move to get these down there, i.e. a lot of yen strength to come through, and I don't think we're going to see it. And this is why it was so hard to trade these previously, because you can't get in. It doesn't give you much opportunity to get in. You've got to kind of take every little pause. This is a pause at the moment. So initially, you know, you want to be getting in long here. I wouldn't get on the Euro, though, ahead of the Euro news, obviously, on Thursday. But yeah, so all of the yens are very nicely extended at the moment on the 4 hours. So I think more longs on these, but you've got to try and find a way to get into them. So pullbacks, potentially pullbacks into reversal alerts is a good way to go as well. So assume that we're going to retest these reversal alerts that we've had. It doesn't really work there. It does here. So again, that's back into the 24.72 zone. So that's what I'd be looking for on all of those. So yens, they're all potentially mean reversion trade opportunities at the moment, but obviously caveat is the yen is incredibly weak at the moment, so you just want to be a little bit careful with them. Looking at the rest of the Aussies, Aussie dollar is very all over the place, as you can see at the moment. Aussie is strong against New Zealand dollar, which it usually will be, but against everything else it's very, very kind of sideways. So I just didn't get that retracement. Got bought up straight away out of there. It's going to be quite difficult to get into this on a long. You want to use a fairly big stop if you're going to try and get in the NAS on the long side this afternoon, I think. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss. Let me just whiz through all of these in one go. So Aussie dollar CAD, very, very, very sideways at the minute. Obviously, we just got into an accumulation. It's range bound, very range bound at the minute. Canadian dollar should continue to strengthen up off the back of oil. Therefore, I'd be looking for short opportunities. The short trade on this was here in the 24.72 zone when we pulled back. So that's where really initial position should have been. You had a reversal alert then on 4 hour, but it's still stuck sideways at present. So Canadian dollar, I would expect to continue to strengthen up. We've got the nice reversal alert which we've just had there. You would have euro pound just hit as well. ADR. Just have a quick look at that while we're. Yeah, so we've got a strong pound. Or is that weak euro? Yeah, it's a fairly weak euro at the moment, causing that. Difficult to trade euro pound. Be careful with this. You've got two weak currencies against each other, with Boris potentially getting booted out in 3 hours' time. So your guess is as good as mine on that one. So yeah, Aussie dollar CAD. I'd be looking for short opportunities on this. We've just had a retest of these lows again. So this is holding. This level here is holding very, very, very nicely at the minute. As soon as we pop that, we're going to come down and test those lows. So looks really good for shorts on the Aussie dollar CAD. Aussie dollar Swiss, choppy mess. Doesn't really matter which way you trade this at the moment. We are extended at the moment because we've got a weak Swiss franc. But remember, I traded this from here before I went on holiday. We are consistently making new lows. Yeah, so you know, we are bearish market structure on this, and this is exactly where I would be looking in this propulsion gap for a short opportunity. So again, really good looking short opportunity on the Aussie dollar Swiss. It's pushing up at the moment because we've got a weak Swiss franc. Aussie dollar rate announcement is coming up, which potentially could strengthen the Aussie dollar, but it is rolling over at the moment, so looks really, really good for shorts. You're quite nicely extended, loads of selling coming in at the moment on the market. So it's rejected this high by the looks of things. So not sure it's going to make it up to ADR today, but this is where I'd be looking for a long if you're interested in longing. If you think we're going to get up and retest the highs today, that's exactly where I'd be looking to get in. If you're bearish, that's exactly where I'd be looking to get in. It's going to go one way or the other. Nobody knows which. Aussie dollar Swiss. So yeah, lovely looking short opportunity. If this fails and it continues to push up, you're going to be extended again on the RSI, which is going to give you a chance to get into another position short. If we continue to push bullish on the Aussie dollar rate announcement, you have got plenty of resistance coming up, where we are going to get a reaction. The market is bullish on this. Obviously, you can see the market is bullish on the Aussie dollar. Sorry, bearish on the Aussie dollar. If this does continue to push from here, you'll be getting in here, getting in here, getting in here. If it manages to get all the way up to there without having a breather, it's coming down. Yeah, so you're just going to ride one of those down, next one. And that'll be a Swiss franc strength. The Swiss francs are returning to normal. We seem to getting good strength and weakness returning on the Swissy now. So looking for short opportunities on that. It's not quite extended on the 4 hour. It was extended last week. And obviously you could have either ridden that and got out there, or you may well still be in it if you got into it. But yeah, looking good for shorts. Aussie yen, we've covered all the yens basically. Just be careful with the yens if you're going to mean reversion short them. Aussie New Zealand is bullish. The rate announcement is going to be quite pivotal as to what happens with the Aussie New Zealand, because the Aussie is usually in control, as you can see, the vast majority of the time. We've got lots of mineral shortages everywhere, and the main export of Aussie is all your minerals basically. So oil, everything is going up, therefore demand is going up, costs are going up. Aussie dollar is benefiting from all of its exports at the moment, so this will continue to go as far as I can see. We should be looking to break new highs. There's nothing potentially coming up on the New Zealand dollar that should strengthen it any way, shape or form above what the Australian dollar is doing at the moment. So we've just had a lovely pullback, RSI extension. Your long trade was that last week before potentially. So yeah, looking for pullbacks basically into the 24.72, and obviously just positioning yourself long in these areas and then getting out on the pushes. So already in one, looking for pullbacks. So again, a retest on the 4 hour reversal alert here would be a good entry if you've missed the long. So if we can get back down and retest this area, and again the 24, be looking for long opportunities out of there. We've broken these highs, not convincingly, but we've broken them. You know, the Aussie New Zealand's never going to be a massive mover. It's a 50 ADR pair. Because obviously the Aussie and the New Zealand move in tandem because they're strong trading partners. The Aussie's usually in charge. You don't get massive movement on it, so obviously you just have to position, change your lot size accordingly, obviously. But you're pretty safe with any RSI extension on this pair at the moment. So if we do get a push down, I don't think we'll get down into there. But on the hourly, you may well find that we get. Yeah, the hourly, we've got a really good chance of pulling back somewhere this week into here, and then longing out of there. So see, but obviously tomorrow morning is the rate announcement. So if the Aussie flies off the rate announcement tomorrow, not a lot you can do. You've missed it. So your options on the Aussie at the moment are jump in long now and assume the rate announcement is going to power up the Aussie, which it should do. If for any reason it doesn't, you're going to have to enter into position trade to get out of it. So I think it's a pretty good long just to hit the button now, to be honest. You've had a reversal alert on the hourly short, and that's retested as well. So pound Swiss is 125 ADR now. So I'll be looking for any kind of test in this area here, or obviously down here for longs if it does come down, but we'll find out tomorrow what happens on the rate announcement. That pound Swiss, obviously the pound's flying off the back of this thing with Boris. Look at where we're coming up to and look at where we've been. So we've got these highs here, Just move that one up a bit. Yeah. So we've got this zone here, which is the top of the range from last week. Previously we bounced out of it, slammed for it. This was old support, turned into resistance. We're just retesting that now. So we've got 125 ADR. We're almost extended on the hourly RSI, and we've got potential Boris being booted. It was like a lovely short opportunity to me. So danger with this is that we break these highs, Boris stays in. Then obviously we're going to come back up and retest this support resistance here and potentially back up to there. So short, second, third. By the time if we get up to here, anywhere up there, 300 ADR from today, this thing's going to be like up there. The pound is not going to strengthen anytime soon. Yeah, so this looks like a lovely short opportunity. Pound Swiss. Lovely ADR hit. 125. So you can wait for a reversal alert on it if you want to. Yeah, let's wait for that reversal alert to kick in on M5. That gives you confirmation. We've got targets to aim for galore to the downside as well. So looks really good. Pound Swiss. What have I just done? The Aussies, isn't I? Aussie, New Zealand. So Aussie, US. So US dollar. I haven't got the Dixie, have I? No. So the Dixie, turn this upside down on its head. The Dixie at the moment is coming down, so the US dollar is weakening. We've just had a couple of weeks though of sideways price action. So basically the US dollar has been doing this, and basically we are now flat. So I would expect the next move to start on the US dollar fairly shortly, basically. So with the Aussie US, we've got the Aussie dollar announcement of rates coming in. We've got no strong US dollar news until CPI on Friday. So if they are going to move the US dollar, there's a likelihood it's not going to be until the end of this week. So if we get this positive move on the Aussie dollar, we've got really good potential movement to the upside on this, coming back up into here. But I think the US dollar is going to strengthen overall. So we should be looking for shorts on this one at the moment. At the moment, it's got extended last week and basically pushed up and put another leg in. So we've got an M pattern form there. We've just pushed up into those highs and rejected. So looking really good for short opportunities at the minute. The spanner in the work, obviously, is the Aussie dollar rate announcement tomorrow. So we've just taken out these highs. Lovely liquidity run. Anybody that got in short on that pullback is now taken out. So they've cleared the decks for a decent move to the downside. I get the feeling we might get another strength, another push off the Aussie dollar. We may not do. The Aussie dollar rate announcement is obviously factored in already. Whether or not it's factored in enough that they keep hold of it and just go like that and then wait for the other pairs to manipulate the Aussie around, we don't know. So we're either going to get that push tomorrow morning, or we're just going to get a little bit of a spike maybe and then sideways movement. If that's the case, the US dollar should be able to push this back down again. So this is in a really good spot. We've just had 4-hour extension on the RSI. We've just come up, taken out that level. Looking really good for shorts. We're in the 72.24 area where we're always looking to continue our moves. So obviously we've got a strong currency against a strong currency here, so it's not going to move as fast or as strong as other pairs, but US dollar is overdue some strength, so I'd be looking for short opportunities on this. Reversal alert obviously on the 4 hours a bit far away at the moment, so we just had one on the hourly and a retest on Friday, but obviously that was part of an accumulation. It's price action. Lovely shooting star. It's actually a doji, but I'd class it as a shooting star. So yeah, it has started its move, broken back down at the moment and just holding at those highs. So potentially, as I say, we could have another leg up from here, in which case you would obviously just scale in with the second position up there and wait for that one to come down. So it looks good for shorts, Aussie US. Anybody getting long again? So looks like we are potentially going for the highs. Really hard today. This was where the money. This is a good example of why you trade the open and try and make your money at the open. Yeah, if you can get it all done by here, all this laborious. This is going to take you 3 hours to do $1,800. Just, you know, if you can't read it and get it in here, then you have to trade that way. But lovely rejection at these highs. So support and resistance, just you know, I go on about support and resistance all the time, but there's a reason. Yeah, broke it. Now it is going to be resistance, potentially pushing up. So wandering again. So yeah, now it's just a load of buying coming in. So the Aussie US looking for shorts. I'll try and whiz through these fairly quick. CAD Swiss. So Swiss franc. I'll cover all the Swissies at once. Swiss franc, massive weakness at the moment. Big strong push. Canadian dollar. We're looking for longs. This was the long, and it's playing out beautifully. So yeah, you missed that one already. I wouldn't try to mean revert the Canadian dollar at the moment, especially with a weak Swiss franc. So again, Euro Swiss. It's Euro Swiss come now. Strong push up at the moment on the Euro Swiss. Pound Swiss, big strong move on that one. This is obviously Swiss franc. It's temporary. Everything with the Swiss franc is always temporary. We have these big strong pushes in one way or the other, and then they just get undone by the other currency. So if you've got a bullish bias on the New Zealand dollar and you see that coming down because the Swiss franc is strong, you get in. Because as soon as the Swiss franc is turned off, it's like a tap. They turn the Swiss franc on, they put a load of transactions through the Swiss banking system, and then they turn the tap off. When they finish those transactions, then the other currency takes over from the Swissy, and the move gets undone, which is why you see the Swiss franc. Everybody hates, a lot of people, when you start out in FX, avoid the Swiss franc, it's massively volatile. It is, but that's brilliant, because volatility is where we make our money, isn't it? If it's moving up and down, we can make money. If it's going flat, we can't do anything. Swiss franc, when you understand why that volatility is there in the Swiss franc, it becomes really easy to trade it. So big, strong moves by the Swissy, you just get in on the other side of it. Yeah. So at the moment, we've got a weak Swiss franc. So you want to pick stuff that you've got bias short on, like the pound, for example, and be shorting that. So yeah, all these Swissies basically big strong pushes at the moment. US dollar Swiss, I wouldn't particularly be looking to short that one. Be looking for longs on that. But yeah, so all the Swissies basically, I would be at the moment. As soon as it starts to weaken, you can trade all those back the other way. So they're really good for ADRs, Swiss franc. Anything that hits the ADR on the Swiss franc is usually a pretty good bet that it's going to play out with a quarter to a half an ADR move almost straight away. So CAD Swiss, looking for longs on that one, missed the boat. It was back there, so looking for pullbacks and longing at some point. So are you not likely to get RSI extensions on this one now because it's started its next leg up? So any kind of pullback really into a support, using the support rectangle potentially for bounces. So CAD Swiss, CAD Yen we've covered all the yens. Euros, shorts at the moment. So the euro, I'm quite glad I'm flat at the moment on the FX side of things because I'm not sure what is going to happen with the euro. I'm eagerly awaiting the rate on Thursday. I suspect it is going to come out as zero, as expected. The European Union and Lagarde and the ECB are always very transparent about what they're going to do with rates, and they have been very transparent about getting sort of anything up to a percentage point rate hike by the end of the year. First one coming in July. So I would be quite happy to sit here and put my money on the fact that this will be as expected tomorrow, and it will be in June, because Lagarde will tell us if it isn't, and that's usually what happens. So what impact that is going to have on Thursday is the bit that I'm unsure of, because when the market knows there is a rate hike coming, it gets factored into what happens to price. Yeah. So the euro, we can see obviously the war, an attempt to recover and failure. Lagarde announcing that there's rate hikes coming. Okay, so the euro is finding a little bit of strength off the back of rate hikes. Now that doesn't mean it's going to strengthen the euro, because the euro is still in a lot of trouble, as the yen is, and a lot of obviously economies are at the moment. But we are seeing positive market structure holding at the moment on the euro. So I've got a feeling, and this is what I'm waiting for the rate hike, the rate announcement to tell me, is whether or not we should be short-term bullish on the euro, which I never thought I would say, but I've got a feeling we might start to see some. I don't think it's going to be strength. I don't think you're going to see the strength as you do in other currencies like the US dollar, but I do feel that we should be less bearish on it, maybe a little bit more neutral on the euro. So I'm waiting to see what happens with it. We had a nice RSI extension down there. Everyone that we've got so far, bullish wise, has kind of held and worked out. So I'm expecting a bit of a bullish move, not expecting a massive one. And as you can see, market structure that we had when we started this bullish move has failed. So we had this double top put in, came back down, put in a new higher low. Then we put in a lower high, and now we've put in a lower low again. So market structure has now, this is a peak formation low, that's the peak formation high. We are now potentially shifting back to bearish market structure, which is exactly what I would expect to happen. So at the moment, I'm unsure on the euro, because market structure is telling me we are short, and it's telling me we are long. It's very difficult to discern with the euro exactly which way you should be trading at the moment. But that doesn't make it difficult to trade, because it doesn't really matter, as you can see, which one you get into. If you get into it short, you're probably going to be okay. If you get into it long, you're probably going to be okay, because at the moment, when we have extreme moves, they're playing out very, very nicely. So it's kind of something I think at the moment you can play in both directions with all these euros. Euro Swiss is a good example. Swissy. Again, Euro Swiss, these tend to move in tandem together. The Euro Swiss the Swiss franc has been in charge of the euro for such a long time. I mean, if you look at this also on the daily chart, yeah, we can see the Swissy's been in charge for a long time now. But it is starting to fade. A lot of people are seeing this as a flag for the next move down, which again, potentially it could well be. But for short term, I think we're going to want to come back up, and we are already doing it. The Swiss franc is weakening, and we are getting the opportunity for the euro to come up and retest. It's only got until Thursday, so we haven't got long for it to make a move up to there before the next move starts, and potentially the next move could be bearish. So I would say with all of these euros at the moment, you're looking for RSI extensions, and right now I think you can trade it in either direction. I've always taken for the last year or so, if you've been in the live room for a year, when you go back and watch any replays, you will see me taking shorts on the euro only, no longs. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm quite tempted to actually take it in any direction. I'm still a little bit more that way, but I'd be quite happy to take any RSI extension at the moment on the euro and be fairly confident I wouldn't have to get into more than 2 to 3 positions in a position trade to get out of it fairly easily. So at the moment it's flat on the Euro Swiss. Euro CAD, we are extended to the downside. CAD, obviously, when I'm saying about the euro being not necessarily bearish, doesn't mean I'm bullish on it. I'd be more neutral to bearish on the euro. When you've got something like the CAD, which is incredibly bullish at the moment because of oil, I would still be bearish on the euro CAD. So this one I would be bearish on, definitely. CAD Swiss just hit ADR 125. Again, I wouldn't be shorting that, really. So yeah, Euro CAD, I would be short on it only. So again, RSI extensions to the upside, 24 bounces, perfect. Shorts, I would be still looking for shorts on the Euro CAD because the CAD is still going to be strong until they sort this oil debacle out with what's happened with Ukraine. The Canadian dollar is going to be winning. So I still see the Canadian dollar strong, therefore everything against it I see weak. So CAD strength, you've missed the boat on this one. The trade was here at the end of May, before I went on holiday. So if you got into that one last week, well done. So yeah, Euro CAD short. Euro pound, now this is another tricky one. We've got a rate announcement and we've got a prime minister potentially being booted. No idea. No idea. Literally, neither is the market, as you can see. So I'm not really interested in trading the euro pound at the moment. Again, with this one, you've got a weak currency against a weak currency. Potential, you could take any RSI extension you see and know that if you got into it and it didn't work out, like here for example, yeah, you get into it and you scale in, you'll get your exit. Yeah, so if you got into it here, pushed up, scaled in, exit. So I think any extension you want to take on it, you're probably going to be okay because you've got a weak currency against a weak currency. You then get neutral. It's reconnected. There you go. So euro pound, again, I'll be waiting for RSI extensions. Double top there, lovely, beautiful double top confluence for a short. If we get down here, go for longs. So again, if we get any movement off of the Boris situation later today, that is incredibly strong in either direction, that gives you an opportunity to fade it back the other way. I don't think it'll be long-lived. Replacements of leaders is very difficult to trade if it happens, because you don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily. And to be honest, it doesn't make a lot of difference because Bailey's in charge of monetary policy, not the Prime Minister. So what you tend to find is a bit of volatility. That's about it. The bias on the pound is not going to change if Boris gets kicked out or stays. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. The bias on the pound at the moment is bearish. Euro bearish to possibly sideways. I'm still not convinced about this. I'll wait until Thursday. So yeah, up or down, but at the moment nothing, neither. We're just sideways. Euro yen, same thing as all the others. Yen is weak. Euro New Zealand, New Zealand dollar potentially strengthening with the Australian dollar. At the moment though, very, very difficult to decide which way this one's going to go. Again, it's going to be based on the rate announcement, but what we've got at the moment is a very strong euro move, and it's basically flagging. So looking for reversal alerts to the upside. So you've got 4-hour reversal alert almost formed there, back down at the 2072 area. You had an RSI extension down there. So, you know, with any of these, I'd be waiting for RSI extensions on them, and I think, as I say, with the euro now, I think we can probably take either or, but at the moment we're flatlined. It's almost like we're coming into summer trading 6 weeks early at the minute. We're getting a lot of accumulation, and no directional bias. The market's just not really interested at the minute. Euro US dollar looking for shorts. This one's just had a 4-hour retest. So your entries were back here somewhere. Started to push down, came back up, retested. We're pushing back down again, waiting for that US dollar strength in this zone. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out what you should be doing with this one. So looking for short opportunities. US dollar Swiss ADR, very, very, very weak Swiss franc today. So yeah, lovely short opportunity. If for any reason this pushes up, you know, you've got loads of levels to scale in short. But the entry was last week on this one. But I think you can still get into this now, right now, if you want to swing it. And I think you'll easily get down to there. Failing that, somewhere in this zone here. Cool. Selling coming in at the moment. We're getting stuck. We're really getting stuck up here. If you remember the last time you saw that happen this afternoon, was here. Yeah, we had that massive selling rally, yeah, into this zone, and then it pushed for 20 minutes. Yeah, it's all gone dead. So I think we may well try and retest the highs again now. So good opportunity for a long, but not much, probably 35 points, maybe 40 points. So Euro US dollar looking for shorts. Pound week, looking for shorts on the pound at the minute. Again, the pound is a very difficult thing to trade at the moment. Everything is making everybody poorer by the month in this country at the minute. The economy is shot at the moment. I'm just looking for when the next, yeah, it's next week. So it's next Thursday is the next rate announcement. There's no forecast on it at the moment, on anything next week. It's interesting. Why is there no forecasts on anything next week? So next week we've got the pound rate forecast. So I get the feeling it's going to have a little bit of a short-term boost off of that rate announcement, but overall I think we're looking for shorts on the pound against pretty much everything at the moment. So any RSI extensions to the upside on the hourly or the 4-hourly, looking at those for obviously the condition to drop down to lower time frame, look for reversal alerts to start shorting. We've had a very big drop over the last week on pound odd specifically, so it's got an opportunity to come back up into this accumulation here and potentially find some resistance up there, but equally it could just fail here and just go. So it just had a reversal alert which is being retested at the moment on the M15. So I think we're looking for shorts on this one. So any RSI extensions to the upside on the pound, I'd be looking for shorts. It is bottoming out. Obviously we got affected really badly. The banking sector got affected really badly when the Ukraine war kicked in. And that hurt the pound a lot because 70% of the FX transactions are going through London, and all of a sudden we turned off part of the banking system with Russia. So it didn't help at all. Since then, we haven't really gone anywhere, but every push we've had has been slapped. Yeah, accumulation slap. Yeah, we're getting slapped way harder than we're making ground. So looking for shorts on all of these. Aussie dollar, same thing. We've got a nice bottom that's just been taken out there. Nice W. So potentially a little bit of a pullback, but you're reliant on the Canadian dollar weakening at the moment. Can't really see that happening. So any extensions on RSI, any pullbacks into the 24.72 zone, start scaling into positions short. Pound Swiss, same thing. So this is exactly, you know, we've just been looking at this one, haven't we? We're extended on the hourly now. We're coming up to highs. M5, we've got an ADR extension up to, we're nearly at 150 ADR now on this. So again, really good looking short opportunity, massively extended on M5 and M15. We're extended on the hourly as well. So good looking short opportunity there. The only problem with the pound Swiss is this massive propulsion gap. A la here, yeah. It's unusual for a gap that big not to get visited again. We're reaching for it now. So this is the high. This is the first retest of it here. So potentially the 225 ADR, the 72 daily moving average is where I would look potentially as a maximum for this one to get to. That's going to rely on the Swiss franc being weak, or us getting some news off of Boris being booted or whatever happens with Boris later, to spike up into this zone. I'd be looking for short up there. So looking really good. And if we do get a spike up into that area, the RSI is going to get up there very, very fast. Yeah, I think pound Swiss is actually a really good spot to start shorting from now. Pound Swiss short. Gosh, choppy as you like, isn't it? I caught the move. I've been very lucky today to catch that move and catch that move. It's just a horrible choppy mess now. You need to be dropping down to M1 really, trading this. So that's pound Swiss shorts. Pound yen we know about. Longs, but not because of the pound, more because of the yen weakness. Therefore pound is just going to take advantage of it. Even if the pound is weak, it's going to beat the yen at the minute. So it will more likely do that. Yeah, don't expect it to go fast. Pound New Zealand, same, very much similar to the pound odd, in that we've got this movement down at the moment, which has stalled. We've had a little bit more of a positive movement against the New Zealand dollar because the Aussie's obviously been stronger, but I'd still be looking for short opportunities. Haven't had one for a while. Last one was up there. But any kind of pullback now into 24.72 would be good for starting a short position. And then if it does manage to push further, obviously just look for levels where you can get into additional positions on reversal alerts and just keep trading it back down. Pound US dollar shorts. Again, waiting for the US dollar to power up, probably Friday. May do it beforehand, but obviously we can have some news on the pound. This is the thing I don't like about the pound US is this at the minute. This is just such an obvious target to come and retest. We haven't tested it at all. This massive propulsion gap here. We just have not come back up here yet. I'm not surprised because obviously we've got a weak pound and we've had a strong US dollar. So obviously, yeah, we've been pushed down. But that's the only thing that worries me about this at the moment. We are in the 72.24 area. We've had a reversal alert on the 4 hour here, which we've retested, and it looks like it's just starting to bounce down, and eventually we'll get a move start on the US dollar and it will just come down and retest these lows. So you can short this one really whenever you want to, and if you need to scale in, you know, so if you shorted it here for example and didn't get out on that, you'll have had an additional position somewhere up here. So you literally for the last, what's this, beginning of May, so almost for the last month, 125 on the pound yen, you've been sitting in this with a couple of positions on, going nowhere, making nothing, waiting for that US dollar. How many times do we sit there and wait for the US dollar to do something? At the moment it just goes into these lulls. So really good opportunity to get in now. We've got some volatility potentially coming on the pound. We're expecting the US dollar to power up. Good move to the downside. So you can drop down. Reversal alert on the hourly we've had, M15. Yeah, I mean just shorts basically. New Zealand's at the moment weak against the CAD, definitely. Lovely bounce out of the 24. RSI extended. 4 hour reversal alert. Looking for it to come back down and retest these lows at some point. So if you were in this one last week, well done. You'll have ridden it from wherever. This was the retest here, wasn't it? So reversal alerts in this area is starting to play out nicely. New Zealand dollar Swiss, same thing. We've got a Swiss franc weakness at the moment. When that Swiss franc weakness abides, I think we'll probably start this moving back down again. Very, very orderly. This is what I say with the Swiss franc. Same with the Aussie dollar Swiss. Only trade one of these, don't trade both. They move very, very similarly. But it's just textbook market structure. Textbook. So just we've just broken highs actually there. So market structure has just shifted back to the upside. Either way, you're looking for a pullback, aren't you? So if this market structure is going to hold now with a low, a high, and a higher low, you've still got a short there, haven't you? So I'm still short on it there. New Zealand dollar yen longs until the yen decides to do something. This is a good example of a position trade. You'd have got in initially here somewhere, and you'd have had to have ridden this out over a period of a couple of months. There's probably a few of you that were in this if you got into the yens long, waiting for that second leg of yen strength to come in, which we were expecting. Just took forever, and it happened to happen last week while I was away. But you'd have got in initial position there. Probably this accumulation is what we were looking at for second position. Third position somewhere down in this accumulation. ADRs apart basically. And now you are out with a nice profit. New Zealand US shorts. Again, waiting for that move to start on the US. Nice extension on RSI. Had a couple of extensions on RSI. So again, with the same thing, you're probably in a couple of positions. If you've got shorts on against the US dollar, i.e. anticipating this US dollar strength, you're in a couple of positions. You're just waiting for weeks for this thing to start. But yeah, shorts. So it's in a really good spot right now in the 24.72 zone, looking for that next leg down. So just waiting. US dollar CAD. So US dollar CAD's very difficult. It's a long against a long, as you can see. Which of them is going to win out is dependent on which of them is getting pumped at the time. US dollar's been weak, Canadian dollar's been strong, therefore we've had that push down. When the US dollar strengthens and the Canadian dollar, i.e. oil, hits 125 a barrel, the Canadian dollar will start to weaken. That will start to go back up again. So we're coming down to the lows. I think we can get down to here before Friday. If we can get down to here before Friday, lovely looking longs on US dollar CAD. So looking at oil, we're looking at this 125 a barrel, 126. I think we're probably going to, if we get there, I mean, it might not even get there, but if it has a good run and tries to get there, we're going to get some kind of reaction up there, 125, 126. So that's where it's headed. We thought it was going to happen from here, and it failed. And obviously just contracted, and finally we've gone. So it does look like we're getting there. It's anticipated to happen. So whether it times itself perfectly with this or this, don't know. But if you get in here and it's wrong, you'll get in here and it will be right. Because it's not going to do that without doing that. US dollar Swiss. Again, Swiss franc weakness starting to show. Yes, one's looking spot on for a bounce off of the 72. It hasn't gone anywhere since we got the reversal on the 4 hour. So looking for any kind of pullback long on it. You can scale into this one on lower time frames now. Any kind of pullback on this, just long it and then wait for it. If it gets down to there, long it again and just keep longing it. It will go at some point soon, US dollar Swiss. Just waiting again. You've got a couple of lovely levels of potential support resistance coming up. So you've got this level down here. We've looked at these. I remember looking at these before, but so yeah, that one there. If it pushes all the way back down to there, you've got a nice little long there. Failing that, you've got a lovely resistance there to bounce off, which will become support potentially. You've got this level here, and you've got this level down here. So depends when you wanted to do it, but if you're longing it from here, obviously you're longing after an ADR extension to the upside, so it's not the best place in the world to long from. But if you want to long it when it pulls back, get in there. You just be prepared. You know, this would be a very deep drawdown situation. You'd be very, very surprised if it got anywhere near here. But if it did, 1, 2, 3, probably 4 positions and out. US dollar yen, 125. Sorry, 135. That's where Japan have said they're happy, and that's where the market will probably go. We are right now tapping into the highs. So we have just taken anybody that is shorted from there. We've just taken their liquidity out. Likely we'll probably get some kind of pullback, but I suspect it's going to be more of a shallow pullback and then next leg up. And again, if it can do this by Friday, lovely. So there you go. So there's all the FX pairs. If you're still here and you're still awake, Aussie dollar yen, Gary. Yeah, Aussie dollar yen long. Trying to get a pullback on it, really, aren't you? It's going to be difficult to get in on it, really, but it's difficult to really see where the move started from there, really. So I'd be looking for it's a retest, really, of here is where I'd be looking to try and get a long out of there. But it's difficult one to trade that. They all are, all these yens are, because we were sitting here waiting for this move to start, and all you got really was 2 weeks where you got stuck in the yen if you were trading it, and now you're off. So getting into it now is difficult because it's gone. You can quite easily see that sort of movement happening, so we're looking for the pullback to get in on that final leg. You could hit the long button now, and chances are it will just clear those highs and go. Few hourly RSIs extended now on the Swissies and the Yens. But the Yens, I'd be wary of mean reversions on those. The Swissies, I would be happy to get in. CAD Swiss, not so much, but Pound Swiss more. It's just starting to fade up there. You're not going to get a reverse alert on it because it's had such a big, strong push. You are going to get one, but it's going to be all the way back down there. So, this is jumping really on bearish price action. We haven't had a break of the low here. So what I would do on this is draw a line here. So this last propulsion candle we had up. So this is an inside bar we're trading now. So we're just trading inside of this bar. When we break the low of this bar and hold the low of that bar, that's what I would class as really the reversal alert. Some of your brokers might have painted that as a red candle, in which case that would be your reversal alert anyway. But I would use that and then look to target back down, all the way back down there. But it all depends what happens with Boris, doesn't it? 6 o'clock. I shall be in a spin class. My first spin class for a week. My God, that's going to hurt. Gary, you're long on it. Looks like 95.50. Oh right, you're long. Excellent. Well done. Yeah, 95,680-ish. I mean, it depends where you're long from and where your average is on it as to what you do with it. So you could, you're very likely going to get a bounce there. Whether or not you bounce into this accumulation or we do a deeper pullback from that before the next leg is unknown, and that is going to be dependent on that yen weakness, but it's also going to be dependent on tomorrow morning's rate announcement from the Aussie dollar. So it depends how much profit you're in, doesn't it? I get the feeling we're going to get a push off the Aussie tomorrow on the rate announcement. So I would be looking to take profit tomorrow morning in London. But equally, you just don't know what's going to happen with rates at the minute. The market is factoring rates in. But like I said earlier, this said 0.75 this morning. It's now saying 0.6. I don't know whether that's Forex Factory's muck up. I would suspect it is because they're factoring quarter point rate increases. So quarter of a point rate increases 0.6, not 0.75. So I think they got that wrong. But it's whether the market has factored this in and whether this actually happens. That's the unknown. Last time they took us by surprise. Will they do it again? We don't know. The Aussies do that more than the ECB does on Thursday. So it's difficult to know. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be long. If you just look at all the Aussies, apart from against the CAD, obviously CAD's oil. But you look at all the Aussies, it's doing all right. It's holding up well against the US dollar. It's holding its strength well, and we've got with what's going on in the world at the moment, with natural resources being redirected everywhere. The Aussies are going to win because they mine everything. You name it, it comes out of Australia. So they've got their fingers in all the pies to a certain degree. So they will hold up well out of this, I think. And especially with what the yen's doing at the moment, the yen is not happy. So if we get some positive movement off of the Aussie rate announcement, that thing could fly tomorrow. That could be the first one to break resistance and go. Really go. But that's the gamble you take every time, isn't it? If you take your profit, put it in the bank, you're happy. If it flies, it often makes you crosser. If you take profit of 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever it is, and then it flies, that makes you more cross than if it had actually tanked out and taken you out of break even. It's the psychology. So, whenever I close any trade, I just don't look at it again. Not interested in what happens afterwards until a few weeks time or a week later, then I'll have a look. But if you look at it straight after you've closed out a trade and then it goes mental and flies the other way, you assume the market owes you money because it went and you took it off. And that's just the way we're programmed. So it's a hard decision to make. Sort of quick look at what you're doing. Yeah, we're just stuck. Now it's holding the 20 at the minute. But as you saw, there's a load of selling coming in at the moment. We've got way more selling than buying coming through at the minute. Look at these wicks though. It's just wicky and horrible. It's done the movement today, the NAS. It did its movement this morning. Now we're just literally playing here. But this feels heavy. Feels really heavy. There'll be a load of people at the moment going, "Oh look, there's divergence on XYZ oscillator," and they'd be right. But I don't know when we're coming down. It looks like it wants to come now. We're not interested in holding these highs at the minute. Right, I'll leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:50. We'll have a look at the DAX. If you've got any questions, let me know. If you like the new signally thing, it's not really a signal service. It's just so that you can see what trades I'm taking. Obviously today I've done a lot. I did my target in the session, which is nice. But that's all that's for really. It's just so you can see other trades. You know, if I take trades in the live room and we're still setting them, and when the live room ends, that's the idea of that channel, is so you can see when I'm closing those out, and if I'm taking new ones, because I see stuff. But not today because I'm done, and the market looks like it's done as well. It's horrible. So yeah, be back tomorrow morning at 7:50. We'll look at the DAX. We'll have a look at all the FX market again in a little bit. Well, see what's set up basically, and see where we are going for news. We'll have a look at what's happened with the Australian dollar. We've got CAD PMI tomorrow afternoon. The PMI on the CAD is very mixed, as you can see, but overall typically have a positive impact at the moment. So potentially we've got a bit more CAD strength coming through tomorrow, and then nothing on Wednesday. So we'll have a look at the Aussie dollar. That's the main thing we want to look at tomorrow, and see what impact the rate announcements had on the Aussie, and that will help us decide what to do with some of these Aussie pairs. And if you're going to hold some Aussie, good luck. Hopefully it gets a good push for you. NAS is just coming down, retesting these lows. So if you're bullish on this, this is where you want to be buying. If you're bearish, we're just about to break back down. Pretty bearish. Have to say this is a textbook resistance bounce. Look, doesn't really get any cleaner, does it? Yeah. Slam, retest, drop. It's textbook. Loads of selling coming in. I'd get short on this afternoon. Right, I'll leave it there, guys. If you need anything, come in the Telegram group. I shall be in there as usual. Back tomorrow morning at 7:50, normal time. We'll hopefully get some more money in the bank. Anything you need, as I say, come see me in Telegram. Have a good one. See you tomorrow morning.